I'll give folks a few minutes to get in their seats. Just so everyone knows, today's event, this portion of the event is being live streamed, so thanks to our friends at the AOPC for doing that. And at this time, I'd like to welcome and thank everyone for joining us here today to participate in this live launch of the Guardianship Pilot Project, which is a collaborative effort between the Advisory Council on Elder Justice, the Administration Office of Pennsylvania Courts, Office of Elder Justice in the Courts, the Dauphin County Orphans Court, and MidPenn Legal Services. However, before we begin, we have several members of the bench that I'd like to recognize who are joining us here today, starting with Senior Judge, the Honorable Paula Francisco Ott, Office of Elder Justice in the Courts, who you will hear from later. The Honorable John Cherry, Dauphin County President Judge. The Honorable John McMalley, who you will also hear from later today. The Honorable Courtney Powell. And I'm unsure if our friends from Cumberland County have joined us or they are? Okay, forgive me. Hello. President Judge, the Honorable Edward Guido from Cumberland County, and the Honorable Michelle Seibert. In addition, we are joined by individuals from the legislature, State Representative Justin Fleming, staff from the Office of State Senators Lisa Baker, Art Haywood, Steve Santerciero, and Judy Ward. Santerciero, okay. And Judy Ward. Oh, and I even spelled it out phonetically, and I know it's going to. Unsure if they're here yet, but Department of Human Services, from our executive agencies, the Executive Deputy Secretary Andrew Barnes, and from the Department of Aging, Chief Counsel Althea Bennett. We are also joined by staff of the Pennsylvania IOLTA Board and the Pennsylvania Legal Aid Network, as well as the many staff from the AOPC who were instrumental in helping us put this together, and the Dauphin and Cumberland County Courts. Thank you all for joining us. As we celebrate the start of this important initiative, we will hear from our first speaker, Senior Judge, the Honorable Paula Francisco Ott, Office of Elder Justice in the Court.
Good afternoon. I'm going to apologize right now for my voice. I don't have COVID. I have a sinus infection, but I didn't want to miss today. So here I am. On behalf of the Advisory Council of the Office of Elder Justice in the Court, welcome to the launch of the Legal Services Project between Dauphin County and MidPenn Services. This project is funded in part by a grant from the Administration for Community Living, which is part of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. We were honored that Pennsylvania was one of 3 states to receive such a grant. The goal of this project is to provide trained legal representation for those who are 60 or older and are alleged to be an incapacitated person or have already been adjudicated as an incapacitated person in a guardianship case. Our advisory council members, Karen Buck of the Senior Law Center and Mary Catherine Scott of Widener University Commonwealth Law, contacted Rodea Thomas of MidPenn Legal Services about their willingness to hire an attorney to provide legal representation to this group that we have the funding for. But we needed a county that would be willing to appoint that attorney. Judge McNally immediately came to mind as a dedicated orphans court judge and a personal friend. He accepted the challenge on behalf of Dauphin County. So here we are today with gratitude to both MidPenn and Judge McNally and great expectations for the success of this pilot project. You know, at the time that we received the grant, providing legal services or legal counsel was not required in all guardianship cases under Pennsylvania law. I am so pleased that that has changed with the passage of Act 61. And on behalf of the Advisory Council, I would like to sincerely thank these legislators who worked on this project. Senator Lisa Baker, Art Haywood, and Maria Collette, who is a member of the Advisory Council, for their dedication over numerous legislative sessions to crafting and fine-tuning the important legislation that became Act 61. Representative Dorisha Parker for sponsoring the House companion legislation. Representatives Tim Briggs and Rob Kaufman, and then also Senator Baker and Steve Santasero and Judy Ward for their dedication as committee chairs who worked on a bipartisan situation to promptly move the bill from their committees and to position it for swift and unanimous passage in both chambers. Staff members for the series of policymakers are in attendance today, and we thank them for their important work behind the scenes on this legislation. And also joining us is Representative Justin Fleming from Dauphin County, who was already introduced, and we thank him for his interest in this project and for joining us. I will now call on Mary Catherine Scott, who helped plead my case before Judge McNally that Dauphin County should be the pilot county.
Thank you, Judge. I am so honored to be here today to discuss the work of the Elder Justice Advisory Council, and more specifically, the committee that I worked on in implementing this very important project. The foundation for the Council's work stems from the AOPC's Elder Law Task Force and its recommendations to the Council that all alleged incapacitated persons should be appointed counsel to ensure due process and to this most vulnerable population of Pennsylvania's, the elder population. I worked on the committee, as the judge says, and we evaluated several counties. We looked at the size of the county. Certainly we wanted to evaluate the number of guardianships in the county. We evaluated the diversity of the county. Certainly the Legal Services Office, their willingness and enthusiasm to participate in the program, and certainly the Orphans Court offices and the bench and how willing and enthusiastic they were to participate. And I am so pleased that my home county of Dauphin was selected. This issue and this project is near and dear to my heart, as my clinic at Widener Law Commonwealth represents in guardianship matters and alternatives to guardianship. In addition, I'm a monitor for guardianships in Dauphin County in the Dauphin County Pro Bono Guardianship Monitor Program, and I see firsthand the issue of counsel not being appointed in such cases, and how if I report back to the court any issues and areas of concern, when a rehearing or a review hearing is scheduled, it's very important that counsel is represented in certainly the interests of the incapacitated person. Okay, so I'm very enthusiastic on this pilot project and working in Dauphin County, and I'm hopeful for other counties to join in. At this time, I'd like to introduce Judge McNally from Dauphin County Orphans Court, and we're pleased to have him here today, of course.
Thank you all for being here today. I will tell you, I stand before you, the younger brother of 3 older sisters. So I would tell you, when Justice Todd, Judge Ott, and Mary Catherine team up on you, they had a ready and willing target. But I want to thank Chief Justice Todd and Judge Ott for this opportunity. I still remember I was at Justice Todd's investiture, and I just happened to make eye contact. Sometimes that's all it takes, is to make contact with a dear friend, Judge Ott, and she said, "McNally, you do Orphans Court work in Dauphin County, let's talk." And so that's how it began. So I thank you for the trust that you have in Dauphin County. I know I have great trust in Dauphin County and the team that we do have here at Dauphin County. I want to thank the folks from the AOPC for marshaling us through this process. Several years ago, our then president, Judge Cherry, had asked me if I would be willing to preside over children and youth and matters of guardianship. And I know that that was a great honor, because I know how passionate Judge Cherry is about protecting our most vulnerable citizens here in Dauphin County, our young and our old. And so I agreed to take on that challenge, knowing full well that we already had a really good team, including Mary Catherine Scott, including Jean King, who's here, Sarah Schaefer, as well as the judges and the other folks in Dauphin County, including our AAAs. So it was an easy opportunity for us to take on this challenge because I knew that we had the right team. Not only did we have the right population, but we had the right team that was ready, willing, and able. So I want to thank Judge Cherry for the opportunity to serve in this regard. We know that our most vulnerable look to us for not only their care and to provide positive influence on them, but we know that, ironically, they influence us more so, and many times more so, than we are able to influence them. I want to thank the support of our Orphans Court team. Under the leadership of our new president, Judge Evans, I will once again continue on this task, and it was with Judge Cherry's blessing and with Judge Evans's blessing that we take on this challenge. I also welcome to our team our newest judge in Dauphin County, Courtney Powell, who will also be serving in this capacity. Courtney, ironically, was a solicitor in her private practice for the AAA, so she has not only the knowledge and the passion, she is going to be a welcome member of this team. In a couple of months, another one of our judges, Judge Royce Morris, will take over as our supervising judge of both dependency and juvenile delinquency, because he and I both agree that they go hand in glove. So we're looking forward to that opportunity. We know that in Pennsylvania, we are continually viewed as a state that is favorable and friendly place to our seniors to enjoy their golden years. And Dauphin County in particular offers many resources to our seniors. I want to particularly thank our Board of Commissioners and our new Chair of the Board of Commissioners, George Harkwick, because I know he too, like the judges on the bench, is passionate about taking care of our most vulnerable. But still, we must balance, as members of the bench, providing the safety and security with the freedoms that are guaranteed by our Constitution. Anybody who has a senior parent and has tried to take their car keys away from them, like I had to do at one point in time, will recognize that when you take away someone's autonomy, you take away their liberty. And we guard those liberties very, very closely. But we also understand that that's why these folks need counsel. And Dauphin County has had a practice of providing counsel to folks in dependency and in the guardianship system. However, we now know that pursuant to Act 61, it is mandated. And so we look forward to being the flagship for the state. I know that we work closely and we look to our neighboring counties for how they do their guardianships, and I want to specifically recognize Judge Guido and Judge Seibert for being here today. I know that they will be watching this program very, very closely. I want to again thank Judge Todd and Judge Ott, but I also want to thank MidPenn Legal Services in Rhodia for implementing this program. We actually started implementing the program kind of on a dry run in early December, and I've already had the pleasure of appointing Nick Matash as counsel to some of our seniors who has appeared before the court. And when you see someone like Nick, or when you see counsel involved, you know that that senior is getting good care, and isn't that what they all deserve? I look forward over the next 2 years-ish to serving our seniors in Dauphin County and serving all members of the most vulnerable community that we have. And I thank you for the opportunity to address you all today. And at this point in time, we will hear from Pam Walls.
Hi, good afternoon. I work as an attorney at Community Legal Services in Philadelphia, and I'm proud to serve on the Advisory Council on Elder Justice in the courts as well. As a legal services attorney, this pilot project is also near to my heart. It is also very important because having legal representation is essential to protecting due process rights to people who are facing a guardianship petition and ensuring that their rights and their autonomy are protected and preserved to the greatest degree possible. Right now, we are at a really exciting moment in Pennsylvania where we have multiple ground-shifting developments that are happening at the same time, which are going to improve our guardianship system in ways that better protect due process rights and enhance outcomes for older adults and others who are affected by the guardianship system. So first, as we've heard, Act 61 passed the legislature and was signed by Governor Shapiro in December. And that will require appointment of counsel in all guardianship cases where the alleged incapacitated person does not already have counsel. At the same time, this pilot project was prior to the passage of the act. This pilot project has been in the works for some time. It was conceived and planned for and actually got its start just prior to the passage of the act. And it is going to be really important in several ways. First, it's going to provide a wonderful head start in Dauphin and probably in other counties in this part of the state in the provision of counsel for all older adults who are facing guardianship petitions. It's going to give us a wonderful opportunity as well to gather information and data on what the effect is of having legal representation and how that affects and enhances the outcomes for older adults in guardianship cases. And I'm especially pleased that this is a pilot project that will be using the legal services model. That it's a model that has been used in other states to provide well-trained and high-quality legal representation provided by legal services to people in facing guardianship petitions. So we're very excited that Dauphin County is participating in this pilot, and also that MidPenn is working with us and participating in this pilot. MidPenn is really well positioned and well prepared to do an excellent job, and we will all be very excited to watch as the pilot continues and to see the outcomes. And so with that, I'm going to hand this over to Executive Director of MidPenn Legal Services, Radia Thomas.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Mary Catherine Scott and Pam, for being here today with us. And thank you to all of you for being here today. On behalf of MidPenn, I can only say that we were so grateful to be approached by Karen Buck and Mary Catherine, both of whom are good friends to us, to talk about whether MidPenn would be interested in this, and particularly in one of our 18 counties, in Dauphin County. And we were just so excited to begin to talk about it, and we were glad that we were chosen and it came to fruition. And as I was thinking about my remarks today, I was looking back over some work that we've been doing and thinking about things. And as one state senator said in an interview last April, appointing a guardian for a person represents a serious step. And so my question that I always like to ask myself when I'm thinking about things, and in particular in this particular instance, imagine that you are that person receiving notice that someone is seeking to take control of your life, including your person, your property, and your finances. Most of us in this room would understand what we would need to do. But how many of those who are facing this situation would know that they have rights, or how those rights could be asserted. That's the work we do here at MidPenn. Our advocates over the years have encountered too many situations in which individuals, primarily seniors, have been exploited financially, have been taken advantage of many times by trusted individuals. Their needs, including their medical needs, have not been addressed. Sometimes they've even suffered abuse. We all know that guardianships are legal relationships created when a court determines that a person is incapable of making important decisions on their behalf. This makes it even more important that an alleged incapacitated person have representation at the start of the proceeding, not only to protect their rights, including their liberty, but to determine whether guardianship is appropriate, and also to explore whether there are least restrictive alternatives to that guardianship. This takes time, effort, it takes understanding of vulnerable and marginalized individuals, which is the work of what legal aid does each and every day. And as we look forward to working with many of our collaborative partners who have joined us here today to make this project not only succeed, but to zealously represent those individuals facing guardianship to ensure that their situations are fully understood and their rights protected. We want to thank each of you, in particular the pilot committee, for bringing this project to fruition, some of which you've heard from today, including Mary Catherine, Judge, and Pam, along with many others who are listed in the bulletin. We also want to thank, I want to thank personally Judge McNally, who's worked with us very closely, and I would be remiss if I did not thank, even though she couldn't be here, Pennsylvania Chief Justice Debbie Todd for her support of this effort. With that, that concludes what we're going to be our scheduled remarks today, but we don't want you to leave because we have lots of food that we want to share with you. And we always like to, one of our mottos here at MidPenn is that we break bread and we make friends. So please join us today. Thank you.